Data Science Talks. KI und Data Science. Einfach erklärt.
But a fundamental question about neural networks remains: why do they work so well? Trust me, having a good grasp of German will make your life a lot easier here.
Welcome to our student special of Data Science Talks. In each episode of this podcast, we discuss a current topic of AI and data science with a guest. Today's interview is conducted not by Johannes, but by me, Juan Ainto, a master student of mathematics at the University of Hamburg, and assistant to this podcast. Furthermore, this interview is in English rather than German to accommodate our today's guest, Mahsa Taheri. Mahsa is a postdoc at the University of Hamburg and works on statistical guarantees for neural networks. Hello, Mahsa.
Thank you, Jan, for the kind introduction. I would also like to give a big thanks to Johannes for this invitation, and hello to all the listeners. I'm currently a postdoc in the mathematics departments at Hamburg University, hosted by Johannes Lederer. I have had the pleasure of working with Johannes on theoretical machine learning and high-dimensional statistics since 2019.
Okay, but before we start, I would like to give you 3 questions, which you only answer with yes or no, okay?
Yeah.
Will AI always be a black box?
Yes.
Is the job as a scientist compatible with the family life?
Yes.
On the whole, would you recommend Germany for scientists?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we start with your career. You already told us what you are currently doing at the University of Hamburg. And the first thing I want to know is, what does your everyday work routine looks like?
Well, my day actually starts early, let's say around 6 a.m. I would like to begin work early so I can wrap up by the time my twins get home, usually around 5 p.m. With just a quick lunch break in between, I'm kind of involved for the whole day. My work hours are kind of packed, like studying, writing papers, attending meetings, preparing teaching materials, or even leading students for their projects. I usually prefer to reserve the early mornings for tasks that needs more focus, like reading or writing, and I usually use my afternoons for following our meetings, the students' projects, and maybe some editions.
Okay, sounds great. And what did you study?
Well, I started with a diploma in mathematics, which I like to think of as my warm-up round. Then I thought, okay, why not add a bit of coding into the mix? So I got a bachelor in software engineering because I clearly needed more puzzles in my life, kind of. But that was not quite enough. So I dived into a master in AI, and then I did my PhD in mathematical statistics, which I consider to be my favorite part.
And you said that you switched to math at your PhD. Why did you switch to math?
Yeah, actually, during my master's studies, I was always curious about the math behind black boxes of machine learning models. And that motivated me to study mathematics for my PhD. Honestly, when I started my PhD, I was not entirely sure what to expect. I know it wouldn't be easy, but I view it as a chance to challenge myself. After a few months, I realized this was exactly the journey I had been seeking all along. Now, I cannot imagine working on a machine learning model without fully understanding the theory behind that. Yeah,
So for your PhD position, you moved to Germany, right?
right.
Your master's was in Iran.
Yes.
And why did you then move to Germany?
Well, I started applying for the PhD position after finishing my master. I applied, of course, to programs around the world and received some offers from different countries and universities. However, I was not the only one making the decision. I have a family of four, and at that time, my twins were just 3 years old. So my husband and I had to consider many factors for our immigration, like university rankings, education qualities, let's say cost of living, income levels, and in general, what would be best for our family in the long-term future. So after considering all these aspects, Germany looked like the best fit for us. So I was happy to accept Johannes's offer to follow my PhD at Ruhr University of Bochum in the Faculty of Mathematics. Yeah, and now here we are in Hamburg.
I can imagine if you come to Germany to study here and live here, there may be a lot of challenges you face. In particular, in terms of paperwork, and we all know German bureaucracy. Did you get enough support from the university, from the authorities for your move to Germany?
Yeah, honestly, at first, German bureaucracy was tough, but we learned to be patient in Germany. That's the key. And I would say the most help maybe came from university offices, like international offices at universities. I think they are great with everything. Once it comes to connect with foreigners' office, for example, for all those paperworks, they were really helpful, I think.
And what about the financial support? Do you think in Germany there's enough financial support for talented students around the world, so we get the best students in the world and they come to Germany?
Yeah, I think so. Germany has top universities, and I think there is also a good balance between income and cost of living in Germany, which is, I think, is great for students. There are also many grants available for students or researchers in different levels, which this can really support to attract talented people, no matter their financial background, I think.
Okay, you say there's much support in paperwork, in financial concerns. Are there any other points the universities could improve to ease academic mobility?
Well, I can say that maybe universities can still make the application process a bit more simple, or let's say more transparent. And maybe by offering clear information about funding options and support services can also be helpful for students. But additionally, I would say maybe employing and running more programs or classes in English would attract a wider range of international students to Germany. Or let's say maybe more partnerships between universities and chairs around the world could also create easier exchange programs as well. I think in this way, students and researchers can move between institutions with less difficulties, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, the next topic I would like to talk about with you is your job with your family life. What challenges do scientists face when they want to balance their career with the family life?
Well, I think the biggest challenges often come from having kids when both parents have full-time jobs. With all the deadlines at work, it can be kind of tough for parents, especially for moms, to juggle their children's needs and their careers. For example, school related tasks, activities, work responsibilities can kind of feel overwhelming at times.
Mhm.
In our case, my husband and I are always looking for ways to better balance our work hours with our kids' needs, which is, I think, a bit challenging.
And in terms of support, again, do you think like scientists who take care of children face enough support from the university, for example?
I think there is some support in general in Germany, especially through affordable after school programs and, let's say, kindergartens, which are a big help for parents. Without those, I would say managing full time work with kids would be much tougher. Having that kind of support, I think, makes a big difference in balancing work and family life. But maybe another helpful factor is flexible working hours, which are considered and, of course, provided by some departments and chairs, which I think is really helpful.
But you say it's some departments are offering this, so it's not that far spread out, right?
Yes, I think as far as I know, some departments provided special days in the week. For example, just one day per week,
Mhm.
you can work from home, for example. It's a bit different between different faculties and universities.
Okay, and what if scientists want to take a parental leave? How does those parental leaves affect their scientific career?
Yeah, taking parental leave can really shake things up, especially once you are in the early years of your career. For me, I was on leave just before starting my PhD, and it felt a bit like hitting the pause button on my scientific journey. So you come back and realize you missed some key developments in the field.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's talk about your research a little bit. As I said in the introduction, you work on statistical guarantees for neural networks. There may be listeners at Data Science Talks who don't know what a neural network is. Could you maybe explain what a neural network is and what do you research about it?
Yeah, sure. Well, neural networks are powerful machine learning models which are inspired by the structure of human brain. Also, they are just toy models of the brain. They perform exceptionally well in many different areas and applications. But a fundamental question about neural networks remains: why do they work so well? This is a question that classical statistical learning cannot justify it. As a mathematician, I am interested in learning more about the math behind these models to explain why they work so well. Our goal, in fact, is to study how different parameters of neural networks contribute to their effectiveness. I believe that as we learn more about neural networks and their theory, we also get new insight into amazing abilities of the human brain, which I think is fantastic.
And how can your results then help us understand AI better?
Neural networks are actually fundamental to AI. Studying the mathematics of neural networks allows us to understand or predict and even optimize their behavior, even once we are in complex models and spaces. This approach ensures us that models are not only powerful, but also interpretable and adaptable across diverse fields, from natural language processing to healthcare or physics, let's say. And I would say understanding the theory of them helps us to understand fundamental limitation of the current models. It can kind of guide us to improve our approaches. That's valuable, I think, because it moves us beyond just trial and error and enabling us to design AI models that are not only more effective, but also more interpretable and robust across different fields.
So you are working on the theoretical part, so you try to understand neural networks better, but you don't do engineering. Why do you prefer theoretical work over engineering?
Well, what I like most about theoretical work is the time it gives us to think deeply about our problems in machine learning. In fact, in theory, we uncovered a deeper understanding of why some ML models perform better than others. And mathematics allows us to explain the reason behind each success or failure. We focus on studying ML models in general, not just on their performance on a specific data set or a specific application, but we study the theory of them generally. That's what I like.
Okay. So let's talk about your future plans. Now you're a postdoc in the team of Johannes, and for your career, what do you want to do in future?
Oh, well, of course, we cannot be 100% sure about anything in our future. But right now, I am deeply involved in studying the mathematics of generative models.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to connect them with my background in high-dimensional statistics. Johannes and I are working on some exciting projects in this area, and I am really looking forward to publish the results soon. But I am also engaged in an interesting project in extreme learning theory. And what I like to do in the future is to link my theoretical work more closely to applied aspects like physics or medicine, let's say, and hopefully secure a permanent academia position. Yeah.
So you want to stay in academia? And why academia? Why not industry?
Oh, well, I prefer academia personally because it feels like a better fit for me. You know, I'm passionate about both teaching and research. And I really enjoy having the space to explore my ideas. I appreciate the chance to dig deep into my work without the rush of industry deadlines. And I think academia offers me the peace to think and create and also share my knowledge. And that is something I truly value it. By the way, I think academia and industry are closely connected. We can, of course, always link our work in academia with industry application, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So we already talked about your moving to Germany from Iran. There may be some listeners who also are like from another country than Germany, and they also maybe want to come to Germany. What do you think is the most important aspect foreign students should know before they move to Germany?
Yeah, let's say 2 big things to know before moving to Germany. First, you will definitely need a lot of patience for German bureaucracy. It can feel like a long journey at times, but it works. Second, I can say, make sure to learn German really well. The sooner you start, the better. It would help you to make friends, figure out all those long forms. And I would say just get ready to take a both, but just stay smart.
Okay, so that's your advice for students. Do you have any other advice for students who want to come to Germany?
Maybe I can add a quick note about learning German. I would add that just learn German before you arrive in Germany. That's the point. Once you get here, you will be busy with so many things. If you are a student or if you are a researcher, it can be easy to put off learning the language once you arrive here for doing so many stuff. So trust me, having a good grasp of German will make your life a lot easier here. And you can easily connect with people. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's important advice for students. Thank you very much, Mahsa, for being our guest today. Thanks to Johannes Lederer for his support and for Rania Mark and Christian Kretschmann for the work in the background. And thank you for listening to Data Science Talks.
Thank you, Johan.